Okay, the first one, remember that when you're given the limit, first of all, you want to try direct substitution. If it works, great. If you can plug it in and not have it canceled out, then that'd be fantastic. In a case like this, if I were to plug that on the bottom, it gives you 0 in the bottom, makes it undefined, so you can't do it. So then you factor, you cancel, and then you plug in what's left. So you should have gotten negative 1/5 there. Number 2, when your x is approaching infinity or negative infinity, this is when you're talking about the end behavior. End behavior is based on your horizontal asymptotes. And these are your 3 scenarios. If n, which is the exponent in the numerator, is bigger than m, then there's no horizontal asymptote, so then the limit does not exist. So really the answer for y here is that there's no horizontal asymptote. So it is because n is greater than m, but it's also because there's no horizontal asymptote. N equals m, then you do the leading coefficients over the numerator over leading coefficient of the denominator. And then if n is less than m, then it's y equals 0, so your limit would have been at 0. So this case was the first one. The limit did not exist. Number 3, there's really 2 ways to do it. I think it's easier to find the limits first and then work with them. You could have also just plugged your g of x and your f of x in here, but some of you forgot to square the 2 on the f of x. So I would say find the limit first. So I did the limit as x approaches 3 for this one, and I got 18. The x approaches 3 for this one, and I got 3. And then you can use those values. So there are questions sometimes where it gives you the limit already, and you don't have to do that work. And then there's times when it doesn't give you the limit, and you have to find it, and then plug it in, and you get 330. So 2 times g plus f of x squared. For this, when you're dealing with arithmetic, you're doing the same rules as we did for the end behavior. So in this case, the exponents were the same. 2 over 4 simplifies to 1/2. 5 was your derivative. So you want to bump your exponent forward, multiply it times the coefficient. So I bumped this 3. I'll go back to it in a second. I bumped the 3 forward, multiplied it times the 2. I got 6. And then subtract 1 from the exponent and you get 2. For the second one, you have to take that x to the second and put it in the top. And when you do that, it becomes x to the negative 2. Negative 2 gets multiplied by the 5. It becomes positive 10. Subtract 1, you get negative 3. And then that term is the only one that has a negative on it. So that's the one that goes back down to the bottom. All right, then the last one, summation. So I put 3 things in one. You may not get 3 things together, but you have to be prepared for any of it. Like you could get any of those different formulas. So I separate it with every plus or minus. And then when this one specifically, the 3 would bump to the front of the sigma notation. So after you find the sum using n, then I would multiply it times 3. So you had an n squared, which was this guy. You had an n, which is this. And then you had a constant when you just multiply. And then combine them all together at the end. You're getting the formulas, yeah. Questions on any of the class kick? No, so I'm going to let you use the derivative instead of that way. Yeah, for the slope is not on the, yeah, it's not on there. No, this is not everything that's in the quiz. That's why you had to do this. Yeah, this has everything. So this has obviously limits from a graph. We did not just do, that one we kind of did. Direct substitution, you kind of did. Factoring, you kind of did. This is already posted. Yeah. On the assignment. Yesterday. Yeah. This one is what you won't need to do on the quiz for tomorrow. You can do the derivative here. So I could just take the 1, bump it forward, it gets 3. This goes to 0. Minus the 2, bump it forward to x to the first. And then that's the equation. And then this is the same equation. And then it wanted you to find it at 2. So you take the 2 and plug it in at the end. It's 10 questions. One of the questions says type in your name. That's why if you see that this is the same. The slope, you can use the derivative, more derivative practice. The limits of the end behavior. So this you kind of did. Yeah, it will say find the equation to find slope, or it will say find the slope at the given point. This is also what was not on your, not on the class kick that you have to make sure you know how to do. Yep, was the areas.